Making a warranty claim on your metal roofing system can be stressful because that's time and energy you didn't expect to have to spend. But if that issue is covered by a warranty, you can rest easy knowing that you are protected. Today's video is all about the process, expectations, and considerations of warranty claims. What's up, guys? Welcome to the Metal Roofing channel and welcome to Q&A Mondays. I'm Thad Barnett. Subscribe if you're new. We release metal roofing and metal construction content every Monday and Wednesday. Today we are talking about warranties for your metal roofing system. What exists out there and what are expectations you can have when it comes to actually making a warranty claim. And today I have Adam Mazzella from Sheffield Metals. We're talking a little bit about manufacturer's warranties. So thanks, Adam, for being here. I think first thing we should talk about is when you get a metal roofing system on your house or your building, tell me a little bit typically of what warranties come with a system like that.
Yeah, right out of the box, there is a paint finish warranty. Certainly it varies by system, varies by color, so on and so forth. But by and large, most PVDF items are going to be a 40-year finish warranty, and that is crack, peel, chip, delamination, things like that. And then, usually in the 20 to 30 year range as far as chalking and fading and things like that. As well as right out of the box, there is a galvalume warranty or a substrate warranty. Ranges from 20 and a half years to 25 and a half years, depending on the steel mill. But you kind of get the peace of mind that the product is warranted. If you look at other types of products, other sorts of substrates outside of that, oftentimes there isn't a substrate warranty. So, there could be a gap or a void or a concern that, perhaps part or all of my product is not warranted, where most PVDF 24 gauge products on a galvalume substrate in the industry, and just speaking in general terms, not just Sheffield Metals, should carry that 20 plus year warranty on the finish as well as the steel.
Okay, so it's really important that whichever product you are looking into, that you pay attention to that specific product's warranty details, because they can vary.
Yeah, exactly. And you also got to watch out for certain conditions that could potentially void the warranty system or void the warranty on your system. So, that could be environmental contaminants, agricultural contaminants, confined animal enclosures, things like that. Could be salt water, salt spray, things like that. So just something to keep in mind as you're looking for, a system warranty, whether you're an architect or a building owner.
For sure, yeah. So it's not just what your warranty covers, it's what's excluded from that warranty.
Exactly. You just want to be cognizant of that so you don't find yourself in a pinch, right after install or 15 years after you've got your metal roof or wall installed.
So let's say I have a standard installation of a galvalume substrate with a PVDF finish. Talk to me a little bit about what criteria would actually make me trigger a warranty claim. What would get me started looking down that process? What are some things I would notice that would kind of take me down that path?
Sure. So if I'm a building owner, homeowner, I'm looking for things that may look irregular on the roofing system. That could be red rust, could be discoloration or blotches or paint chipping off of a panel or a seam or something of that nature. There's a number of ways these things can happen. It could have been damage from installation. It could be a bad paint job. The paint on the system, may not have cured properly. It might not have the right, one thing you hear in the industry is DFTs, dry film thickness. So number of things can happen. It's not just, like you're getting a bucket of paint and slapping it on. It is a highly technical process, roll coating process in order, that we've documented that kind of goes through, how the paint is adhered and baked on and how these high performance coatings behave.
So if I notice one of these issues, if I see the rust, if I see cracking or peeling from my paint system, who's my first contact? Who should I call first about a problem that I see?
We strongly encourage you get in touch with the manufacturer that the roofing system came from. Oftentimes, we get calls from people saying, hey, I've got an issue with my roof. And, we go so far down the road and find out that it wasn't the roof supplied by or the metal supplied by Sheffield Metals, and we hate to have to push people off, but in essence, that's what we have to do because we can't really get involved in another manufacturer's potential claim. So, the important thing is start with the manufacturer where your metal came from. If you don't know where it came from, one thing to consider is if you weren't the owner of that roof, oftentimes the warranty is not transferable. So you may not have any recourse with that roof if you're the second, third, fourth owner down the line. Today, there are a number of warranties that are now transferable as far as finish warranties go. That's a relatively recent development, though. We're talking 2017, 18, 19, where some people in the industry started to move that direction. We formally, committed to making the warranty transferable one time. So it's just something that you can package as a homeowner saying, hey, this warranty is good down the line. You're not, stuck with the product if it happens to fail 5 years after you buy this house from me.
So as a manufacturer, if you get a call from a home or building owner and they're telling you about an issue they have with the roof, what is your first step? What will you do to help them out?
Sure. So what we traditionally do is try to identify, the source of everything. So, okay, hey, here's the roof. We try to track back. Now, like I mentioned earlier, your product is warranted either way. However, we have, a formal warranty document that we issue to our customers that they can give to their end users or homeowners, building owners. We check our records, see if we can track the warranty down that way. A great thing to do is if you're a building owner, homeowner, keep that piece of paper. You may not know where you need it. Throw it in your safe, throw it with other important documents you may have. It's still a warrantable product either way. However, this just allows us to identify things a lot faster. So the process really starts with us. We identify where it came from. We have to dig back into our old records and find out, who we sold the metal to, where the source mill on that particular steel item might have been, where the source may have been for the roll coating application. And once we identify all these things, that's kind of when we initiate the claim on our end with our partners, both the paint company, the steel mill, the coating line, so on and so forth. And so it really starts with us, and then we really start engaging the process with our partners in this. So once we have all this information, oftentimes we'll seek out photographic evidence, which most homeowners, most building owners, if they have an issue, that's kind of what they start with. Hey, here's a picture. Here's what's going on. Here's, this rusting issue. Here's this, paint peeling, paint chipping issue. That's a great starting point. If you're oftentimes a homeowner, you may not know the industry terms, the industry, lingo, for lack of a better word. So taking a picture, oftentimes the manufacturer can say, yeah, that's some blistering. Yeah, that's some red rust, whatever it might be. And we can start the process moving forward from there.
So once you get in contact with your partners, what's the next step?
If a determination can be made with photographic evidence, we'll make that determination. But what they do is the paint lines, the coating lines that we use have a holdback of every coil that we have them coat for us. So what they'll do when we can give them that specific source information is they'll dig back through their records. They don't throw these out until the warranty is expired in most cases. They'll go back and do, they'll check the DFTs, the dry film thickness on the holdbacks. They'll check the adhesion quality characteristics. They'll check impact testing, things like that. And I'm really being more specific to painted products here, but they can check all these items. From there, they'll oftentimes make a determination. They may say, oh, wow, yeah, our holdbacks were light on the dry film thicknesses. We have a looming issue out in the field. And most often cases, they will send somebody out. So we'll try to get somebody from the paint manufacturer, the coating line, or the steel mill, depending on what sort of issue it is, and we'll work, hand in hand with homeowner, roofing contractor, as well as our partners in all of this, and we'll work to come to a resolution. Whether it falls as a warrantable condition or not, we'll advise people on what happened, what's going on, or what may have caused it. Oftentimes, we're trying to identify root cause. So there are issues that are quote unquote caused by, like I mentioned earlier, the environment. It could be, somebody had a guy install a satellite dish, penetrated the roof, scratched the roof up, so he used some matching spray paint that wasn't PVDF and it caused blotching. We've seen a lot of strange stuff happen. So, one thing you can do as a homeowner, building owner, is when you do have somebody performing work on or around the roof, whether it's painting, whether it's, like I mentioned, installing a satellite dish, solar panels are becoming popular everywhere. Make sure that they're taking care, ask those questions. What are you doing to not penetrate my roof? You can use attachment systems. What are you doing to make sure my roof doesn't get scratched up? So, because that, unfortunately is not a warrantable condition. Somebody going out there and causing damage to a roof, and oftentimes a beautiful roof, unfortunately can be heartbreaking, because there's not a lot we can do other than, try to remedy it with, paint pens or touch-up paint or whatever it might be to try to prolong or almost put a Band-Aid on a potential issue. So,
all right. So when you take a look at the issue, when you've talked to your partners, maybe when you've made a trip out to the location, what's the end of the process look like for a home or building owner?
Sure. Unfortunately, it's not always something that's warrantable or covered. We've alluded to that a little bit. However, if you do have a condition that is covered by the warranty, we kind of go through that whole process. We identify everything. We get everybody involved. We get samples. We get pictures. We do a job site investigation. What it really comes down to, is it a warrantable condition or not? And oftentimes, if it's warrantable, that person's in line for a new roof. So we'll work with a local contractor. More often than not, it's the contractor that installed the roof initially. And, we'll work up numbers and we'll really handle everything on the sideline for the homeowner, building owner. And we'll work with the roofer. We'll work with our partners, coating lines, steel mill, paint companies, to get that new roof up and installed. And that's really one of the nice benefits about the way we work with our partners is oftentimes, it's not just one person left holding a bag. We work really close with each other to make sure claims get honored that certainly fall under warrantable conditions. So if you have an issue on your roof, there's a few things to get the ball rolling in the right direction, we'll call it. And it really starts with, if you have source documents for your roof, where did your roof come from? You want to make sure you're going to the right manufacturer. So if you've got a Sheffield roof, you want to go to Sheffield. If you've got one of our competitors' roofs, you want to start there. And I think this holds true with most of our competitors is, if you have a warrantable product, start there, identify the source information, that source information being the mill, being the coating line, being the paint manufacturer, so on and so forth, and carrying that forward. And that sometimes can take, a few weeks to figure out and to dig into. And even then, we still have to oftentimes perform a job site inspection, not just to determine the issue, but also confirm that it really is, our metal.
So when it comes to the timeline, how long does this process typically take when it comes to warranty claims?
The process can really vary, Thad. The fastest way to really get the ball rolling is if you have your source information. So if you have a warranty and you can track it back to, and get that information to us, we can track it back to, the source steel mill, the source paint line. We've used Sherwin and Valspar forever. So, we don't really have to worry about, was it a different paint system? So all these things I think are advantageous because we have a lot of the same partners that we've used for years and years. So we can identify these things quickly, if it merits a job site inspection. So that first phase can take a couple of weeks, but if it merits a job site inspection, it really does take some time. Most companies don't want to book flights, without 2-3 week advance notice, just because you get, drilled on airfare. So that tends to be a policy. And beyond that, they may have a number of claims lined up. So usually, once everything's pinned down that this project needs a job site inspection, it usually takes anywhere from 4 to 6 weeks. Now, we've seen it take longer during COVID times. And that's really just because travel restrictions, people being hard pressed, not as available to fly, more people being forced to drive. So trips might take longer. And if they have multiple trips in a week, it's taking a little bit longer. But reasonable. And then when they bring all the information and do all the testing and identify what the actual issue is and identify root cause, that could be another 2 to 3 weeks. So beginning to end, I think it's reasonable to expect that the claims process is going to take anywhere from 2 to 3 months to make a final determination. That being said, I know, as a homeowner, that if you identify an issue, your thinking is, I want that fixed. I want it taken care of right away. It's an eyesore. It's just the process. Unfortunately, it's not, we can't just snap our fingers. It is a high performance product. It is a labor intensive install on the product. It's not just as simple as, swapping out a window or changing a door or something like that. There's a lot more to it. So kind of more goes into it as far as the investigation goes. And then obviously tying that into install time after, a claim is honored.
Talk to me about some things that could happen if a home or building owner decides not to pursue a warranty claim. They see an issue, but decide it's too much of a hassle. What are some things that could possibly happen depending on the type of issue?
Yeah, so most manufacturers' warranties indicate that you need to do something within a certain time frame, whether that be 30, 60, 90 days. That's really the industry norm. So if you notice an issue, don't say, I'll worry about that, after the winter, because another season, round of seasons, could really deteriorate a roof. And if there was an issue that you noticed a little splotch of rust and it was just ignored, that could grow, and it could grow pretty dramatically. Where, if we said, hey, there's an issue, but we can remedy that, with a paint pen for now, and it'll get you by for a year or two, and we can really figure out what's going on long term. Most claims aren't going to take that long, but the longer you wait, and if it's determined that, it was known that you waited, you could be voiding your warranty.
So there's a couple key takeaways here. When you get a new metal roofing system, number one, request the warranty information. Get that documentation in hand. Put it somewhere safe with your home documents so that you can refer back to it later. That's going to help streamline the process. Number two, make sure that if you have a claim and you're going to go down that road, contact the manufacturer of your specific roofing system. Sheffield Metals is not going to be able to help with another manufacturer's claims, and in the same way, another manufacturer is not going to be able to help out with a Sheffield Metal claim. So make sure that you stick to the manufacturer of your specific roofing system. If you have any questions, comment down below. We hope this was helpful for you. Subscribe here to the Metal Roofing channel. Anything else, check us out at Sheffield Metals online at sheffieldmetals.com. We'll catch you next time.